We're a clean tech startup based here in India, and we focus on two verticals. The first is the extraction of critical minerals from e-waste and printed lithium-ion batteries. And the second is dry coal beneficiation using X-ray technology, so you clean the coal directly at the mine with no water use.
What was the event about today?
So the event was about building critical minerals in India, so bringing together industry and government officials together to see how we can inform the policy to better align in making India self-sufficient in its critical minerals.
So what are the major takeaways?
The major takeaways, I think, is that there's still a lot of gaps where the policy can be improved, but the most important is that we continue these conversations and that you hear directly from the industry partners what we're facing on the ground versus the policy at the higher level, and how there's that gap and how to close it to make sure that the right policy is enforced as well as put in place.
We have, national critical minerals mission.
Yes.
And our government is focusing so much on attaining self-sufficiency. So how your company could help with that?
Yes, so actually we have been selected as the only industry recycling partner for IIT ISM Dhanbad. So that is one of 7 Center of Excellences established under the Critical Mineral Mission. And with that, we have gotten partnerships with UK, Cambridge University, Curtin University in Australia. So this expands our global reach and be able to work with these institutions that have done research on the ground, and with an industry partner like ourselves, how can we take it from the lab and commercialize it so it makes a real impact for India?
Do you think by what duration India can get to self-sufficiency?
That is the million-dollar question. I think it will take some time, but we're all working proactive. Ideally, I think within the next 5 years, we can really push the refining, especially the recycling industry. There have been some already players in the market. And then as we bring in those mines and the geological aspects of it, of bringing the raw ores and how we can process it, it would take around 10 to 15 years to really become really self-sufficient as we build the infrastructure. Unfortunately, we're catching up to countries that are ahead, but I believe that the government is really pushing hard and is doing the right thing to make this happen.
Government is also exploring many blocks of critical minerals, and they're also exploring the new mines. So any idea about that?
Not personally. I think, as we know, that many countries have already purchased the best ones that are in the world, but India, thankfully, is looking for partnering with countries and being able to access it. As one thing that under the National Critical Mineral Mission is that they realize that the lowest hanging fruit right now is the recycling of e-waste, because the critical minerals are there inside that e-waste, so we just have to extract it out of it. So I think that is the biggest push forward and the fastest way that we can get to the critical minerals right now.
And the government of India has also, the cabinet has cleared a bill, approved that rare earth magnet thing. They provided a fund for that. So how does it help the industry and your company?
I think it's really great that they're pushing for this. And again, under the Center of Excellences, this funding will push that there's institutions that have already done the research. And some gentlemen here have said that 20, 40 years ago, the Indian government did have research specifically on magnets. So how can we work together to take it from the lab and commercialize it? And that's where this scheme comes in, and that's funding will help, is to commercialize these technologies.
Okay, and rare earth mineral is very key, integral part of manufacturing of semiconductors. And the country is also focusing on semiconductors manufacturing.
Yeah.
So do you think we would be able to produce that much of rare earth, which can also help us in the semiconductor mission?
I think we will eventually. I think right now, if we do push hard on the recycling aspect and extracting the critical minerals, our outputs will be bought and taken by these manufacturers of the semiconductors and the lithium-ion batteries, which are also going into effect now. And the big push is that we'll have a certain gigawatt hours by 2030, and they would be the ones purchasing it. And also under the battery scheme, they have in making sure that these manufacturers are including recycled materials into their manufacturing. So it's important that we take what we have, which is the e-waste, and extract it and make it go back into the production.
Right. Last thing, China is the largest, exporter and producer of
Yes.
rare earth. So after this India's mission, how China could be impacted with it?
Yeah.
And
Impacted in what way?
What should be strategy?
Yeah, I think, as I have mentioned during the session, I think we have to learn from the best. China is ahead of the game, but they didn't get there by themselves. So, for example, the lithium-ion batteries, Panasonic Japan was the first to produce lithium-ion batteries. They took and did a technology transfer in China, and China quickly learned from it and see where they got into the production. The second thing is that we have to, again, learn from that. That's where we have, even though we say it's a geopolitical risk, to collaborate, but we are already doing it in many industries, such as the lithium-ion batteries. There was a technology transfer from S-Volt in China, a company in China, with partnering with GSW, and that technology transfer is what is able to make us becoming a manufacturer of the lithium-ion batteries. So for me, I think it's important that we find ways that we can work together, learn from them. The other aspect that they took to another level is Tesla opened the blueprints for EV cars. And in less than 5 years, see how large the market share of BYD and all these other EV cars took. And again, that was from a technology transfer. They took something existing from another country and they innovated on it. And that's what we have to do here in India. We have to take a starting point and innovate on it, and then we will become the leader in this.
Okay, and apart from, besides so much of support the government is providing to the industry, do you think there are still challenges?
Yeah, there's huge challenges, especially startups like ourselves at Novasensa, even though a lot of these schemes are based on CapEx, but you need to spend the money and get that as a rebate. So for us, we really need to support in really putting the money in to set up these kind of industries, and that's where we ask that all the eggs should not be put in one basket right now. There are some bigger players than us in the recycling industry, but it's important that we also help the smaller companies and the startups who are looking to innovate and really expand on the market. And I think there's enough room for everyone to be in this market and make sure that India grows, so it's a positive sum game. We should help each other as industry partners, even the larger ones, the startups, and the policy should also make sure that they keep in mind that the startups are the ones that are really pushing the envelope and really need support on the ground.